Hi everyone and welcome to DreamSpace TV here in One Microsoft Place in Dublin. My name is Amanda.
And I'm Corey.
In today's episode we are going to recap over how you got on last week and how we got on with our windmill challenge. We're also going to explore some new concepts, things called conditional statements. And we're going to use that concept to create our very own board game.
Before we continue with today's episode, let's look back on our last episode because we talked about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts and maths. And we talked about how here in DreamSpace, we love every single one of these subjects because we believe when we bring all these subjects together, we can make amazing things happen. We even put our STEAM skills to the test and we built our very own windmill, which worked out pretty well, didn't it, Amanda?
Yeah, it was pretty good. We still have them here actually. We took them home and we tested them out. And I know that when I brought mine home, I put it outside, Corey, so it was okay. And then a big gust of wind came and blew it over. So I actually had to use my stilts, my legs here, to kind of secure it into the ground. And then it worked. But one thing I did ask you to do in our last episode was to count how many times it rotated. And I could do that in certain parts of my garden, but in one part in particular, it was really windy and it was going so fast, I couldn't count. Even though I had put my eye on it here, it didn't make a difference.
No.
So I wish there was some way of keeping an eye on that.
Well, I suppose we could add like an electric sensor or something to it.
Okay, so you're thinking add a sensor to this and then it would count the rotations?
Exactly. So we could say something like, if the windmill rotates 100 times, well then we'll send a message. And I don't know, the message could say something like, woohoo, you've produced enough electricity to light a light bulb. But you might have heard me just there saying the words if and then. And in coding, that's actually called a conditional statement. But to be honest, it's just a very, very fancy term for something us humans do every single day, which is make decisions. So Amanda, any conditional statements that you've used today?
So this morning I thought to myself, if it's sunny outside, then I'll put my sunglasses on.
Yeah, and you know what? I was actually thinking, well, if it's raining, well then I'll bring an umbrella. But thankfully, it's not. So, now's a good time to pause and have a think. What conditional statements have you used today? Or what are some conditional statements that you might use later on?
Now that you've thought about maybe a couple of conditional statements, let's think about some others. And the reason we're talking about these is because in coding, we have to give really specific instructions for a computer program to work. So if we think about a computer program, maybe like a video game, we might say, if the player overlaps with a heart, then they gain a life. So it's just our way of making sure that the program works really, really efficiently, Corey.
Yeah, good idea. But what has conditional statements got anything to do with what we're doing today?
Good point. So today we are going to create our very own board game. And why don't you pause the episode now and have a think about different board games you use and how if-then statements are a part of them. Okay, so you might have thought back to different board games you have in your house that you've used with family and friends. And I know there's definitely tons of if-then statements that we have to use. We are going to build our board game from scratch though. So I want to have a look at the materials that I have here that I can use to actually build my board game. So let's have a look at them. And I'm going to put down my windmill from the last episode because we'll get to that again. Okay, so in front of me here on my table, I have a couple of things. I have some A3 paper, which might be useful. So I might actually, Corey, base my game on that.
Yep.
I have some coloured kind of foam. I have some colouring pencils. I have some glue, which might come in handy. Some straws, pipe cleaners, stickers, and I have a ruler, which I think will be useful, and scissors. So again, be careful if you are using your scissors during your challenge too. So I think I've lots here. But I think with my board game, I might actually need a dice. Corey, do you have materials over there that would help you make a dice?
Do you know what? I actually do because I have these kind of sheets of heavy paper, kind of like light cardboard, that I think will actually come in really, really useful. Because if I was to do a dice with some paper, like, I really don't think it'd be that sturdy.
Yeah, it'd be a bit flimsy, I think, maybe.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so we might divide and conquer and help each other out on this, and you can maybe do the dice and a couple of things. I'll think of the board game, but we probably need to make our plan first.
Yeah, good idea, actually.
So remember, with each challenge, we plan it, then we do it, and then we review it. So let's go make a plan and have a discussion about how that's going to work. So let me see here, we'll get myself some space. Okay, so I talked about on my table here that I have A3 paper.
Yep.
So I'm going to use that as my space. So that's what we're going to kind of build on. So we're going to use that as my template. That's going to be my board of the board game.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. And I've been thinking about this, Corey. I haven't just come up with this. So if people are going to be planning at home, it doesn't just come to you. So you do have to really think about it. And what I think is, you know the way with some board games, people start here.
Yeah.
And then they like move steps.
Yeah.
And they have to reach an end goal. So that makes sense. But I think I'm going to try and twist it a bit. And I'm going to try and start people in the center. So this area here is going to be the start of the game. All right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the players to make their way down different paths. So for example, I'm going to have maybe a path going this way. I'm going to have maybe a path this way, and this way.
And can I just ask you one question? What's different about those paths? Like, you have them in different colours and stuff, but is there any difference?
Yes, I do have a plan for this. So each path is going to be like a different category or a different like specialist area. So basically what the idea will be is that if we go maybe on the blue path, we make our way to a landing area here.
Okay.
And the aim of the game is going to be for the player to get to that area and back. So I've decided to call my game There and Back Again. So I'm going to write that up here because I'm going to write my game title up here. So There and Back Again. And we want to make sure that whoever gets there and back, they're the winner. So the different areas. So I don't know, do you want to brainstorm with me what we'll do? So blue.
Let's do like activities, get everyone up and moving.
Okay, getting active, I like that, yeah. Okay, so active. Okay, let me see. What about red?
Red. What about a bit of music?
Oh, music, yeah.
So you could have like singing or dancing.
Yeah, you love singing. Okay, green.
Let's go for travel. Like different places in the world.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. That's kind of interesting to learn about different places and cultures and stuff, yeah. And then yellow.
I don't know. What do you think for yellow?
Let me see. Maybe STEAM.
Yeah, well.
Since that's what the whole series is based on. Yeah, so it could be anything to do with science, technology, engineering, art, or maths. That's a very broad category, but sure, look, be like general knowledge. Okay, so we're going to have to get the player to take steps there.
Yep.
And back. Now remember, the whole point of this is that we use conditions. So Corey, let's have a think about how conditions work within this game. What do you think?
Okay, so, well, one obvious one I think would be, well, if you get to your category and back, well, then you win.
Okay, ideal. So if, and then we'll do these in different colours, player, and we'll say P1 for player 1, travels there. We'll keep this very vague, but you get the idea, and back. Let me see.
Well, then they win.
Yeah. So then player 1 wins.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so that's quite straightforward, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, how is the player going to move? This is where maybe your dice comes in, isn't it?
Yes. Okay, well, I think, what if we have, if you roll a double number? So, like, if you roll 2 2s, well, then you miss a go or something.
Oh, okay. So, right, they roll to move.
Yep.
And then if you roll a double of any number?
Yeah.
Okay, if you roll a double of any number, then you have to go to like a timeout area.
Good idea.
Okay, so we could add that into our board game. We could actually add in a zone where the player has to put their counter or whatever we're going to use. Yeah?
Yeah.
And they have to put them in there and they have to miss a turn.
Okay.
Okay, so if you roll a double number, then you're in timeout
Yeah.
and you miss a go.
Okay.
Okay, because that's going to delay you getting there and back again.
Yeah.
So you're going to, yeah, okay, that makes complete sense. Now, I still think this could be quite short because if I don't know how many spaces I'm going to have to measure this, how many spaces they have to go, but I
Okay.
think the game could be over quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I also might add in a few little detour areas.
Ooh.
So, for example, if this is the pathway and there's all these steps along the pathway, I might add like shaded areas. And at these shaded areas, people have to take a detour, extra steps maybe.
Very good.
And that's
I
going
love
to delay them. They're going to have to go to here, back in, before they can continue on
And
their
imagine
path.
you were just on your way back and then you end up having to take a detour.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You could hit it going there and
Or
coming
back.
back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
So apart from even building the game, we have to build a dice. What about the challenges, Corey? Can I maybe ask you to build out some challenge cards?
Yeah, I'll come up with some
for each
questions.
area. And we need to think about our conditions. Now, I want everyone who's doing this challenge to have at least 3. I think we've only said 2 so far.
Yeah, we have.
So we've had if player 1 goes there and back it, then they win.
Yeah.
We have if you roll a double,
Yeah.
then you have to go into time out.
Yeah.
What about if you roll a double again?
Oh,
So say I've rolled 2 4s and
Okay.
I've gone to time out. Now I'm back in the game and I'm like, yes, I'm going to catch up. And then I roll another double, 2 2s.
Oh,
How
okay.
about then you have to go back to start and go a different pathway?
a different category and one that you wouldn't have picked.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's another if-then statement. Okay, so that's number 3. And we might think about some other ones as we go and recap or review any other ideas.
Well, I suppose if you land on a shaded area, well, then you have to take a detour as a conditional statement.
That is a conditional statement too. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And we might find out that there's more as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'm pretty happy with that plan for the moment. And I think you know what you're going to be doing.
Yep.
I know what I'm going to be doing. So now would be a good time to pause the episode and think about what your game is going to entail using some sort of a planning sheet. Remember, this takes some time. You're going to think about not only how it's going to look and the characters involved, but also your conditions and your rules. Remember, we want at least 3 conditions in your game. Okay, let's get to it.
Let's start.
How are you getting on over there, Corey?
I'm getting on actually really well, except I'm trying to figure out how I can actually make this look like a cube. Like I'm going to definitely have to sellotape it somehow. Because if we think about it, I'm trying to make it look like my standard die, okay, which has my 6 numbers and is shaped like a cube. So I don't think I'm far off,
No?
to be honest.
Yeah, looks really good.
How about you?
Good, yeah. I was slightly off, I think, with my measurements because what I'm doing is, remember we talked about the steps?
Yeah.
From the center to the category and back?
Yeah.
I think what I'm actually going to do is have 18 steps. And when
Ah.
I measured it out, it was slightly, well, it wasn't more because I made it not be as many, but it looks like there's bigger gaps in some areas.
I know what
so
you
it's
mean.
not the neatest. So I think if I was to go back over it, I would make sure. But it's coming together. I've got little coloured, I've used our colour scheme.
Ah, I
So
love
I've
it.
used my foam to make my areas. I'm going to do that to the rest, glue them down. Now, that's going to take me a bit of time. So I might ask you, if possible, to create some sort of counters for the players so
yeah.
that when the players are moving,
We have something to move them
something
with.
to move.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm finished. Are you finished, Corey?
I'm done.
So the best thing we can do now is test out our game and see how we get on. So we planned it, and the plan actually came in really useful for me. I had to keep looking up and see my colour scheme and match up my colours. We've done it, and now we need to test it and figure it out. So Corey, I might ask you to roll the dice.
Okay.
I have these little counters that you've made that we'll use. So I'll take the snake counter and you'll take the little love heart.
Yep.
And maybe to decide who goes first or which path that we want to take, it'll be whoever rolls highest goes first that gets to pick their favourite path.
Ah, good idea. Okay, here we go.
So you're going to roll your own number first?
Yep, I'm going to go first. 3. You're probably going to get higher than me.
I've a good chance. Right, roll for me there.
11.
11. Happy days. I get to go first. And Corey, I am going to take the active path.
Oh, so the blue category.
I'm in the mood to get a little bit more active here, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to roll for me, I'll move my counter along my path.
Okay.
See how I get on.
Here we go. You have gotten a 9.
A 9. Okay, so I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, okay, it's all good, but I'm after landing on one of my shaded areas. And if you remember when we planned our game, that means that for my next roll, I have to detour down somewhere and back into the pathway. So it's going to delay me slightly. But anyway, I'll keep going. I'll take on my challenge to make sure.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Hop on 1 foot for 10 seconds.
Okay, hop on 1 foot for 10 seconds. All right, are you going to count for me?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, ready? 10 minutes, go.
Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.5, 10.
Okay, perfect. Right, so I'm okay. I can stay where I am. We never actually talked about what would we do if I didn't complete the challenge.
Ooh, well then I think you should miss a turn.
Miss a turn?
Yeah, there's another conditional.
That's another condition statement, actually, yeah. So if the player doesn't complete their challenge, then they miss a turn. So they go into timeout. That's another way of timeout, maybe? Okay, that's a good one. So we're going to add that to our list of conditional statements. Okay, it's your turn, but first of all, what path do you want to take?
Well, you did say earlier on that I love music, so I'm going to go with the music category, so the red one.
Yeah, cool. Have you lined up here?
Ooh,
roll away.
I'm a bit nervous. Okay, I got a 8.
8, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, you're just shy of a shaded square.
Whew.
Okay, and you're going to have to call out your own challenge. You have the challenge cards made over there.
Do the floss dance. Okay.
Your favourite card.
Okay, I'm going to try my luck at this. I've actually never done it before, but I've seen a lot of people do it.
Okay.
So, please, no judgment. Okay, I think you do like this. Am I doing it? I feel like I have to.
I'm going to give you the points for that because I wouldn't have even been able to attempt that.
I think once you get to the rhythm, though, you have it.
There you go. Corey's got rhythm. Okay, perfect. Right. Do you want to roll again for me there?
Yep. Okay. 2 5s.
Oh, okay. Now that brings us back to our conditional statement. So I can't actually move 10 steps. That would be 10, but it's a double. So we had a condition that if you roll a double of any number, then you go straight. So I'm going to take my icon and go straight into time out. So that means I'm going to miss a turn. So now you have a chance to get further ahead. But I'm going to just, maybe we'll pause here.
Yeah.
Because I think that we've done enough, that's even a few turns there has given me enough information about how this game works and doesn't work. So we've added a condition about if we don't complete a challenge.
Yep.
And we only figure that out when we start playing the game. So that just shows you how you're not always done when you think you're done. The other thing was that we talked about during it that my measurements were a bit off. But not only that, I feel like if the aim of the game is to get from there and back, I feel like that would be over very fast. I feel like this game would be over in 5 minutes, even if we do all the detours and we do get timeouts. So I think maybe if I was to improve this, I would maybe go bigger. The way with some board games, you get them and you actually open them up.
Yeah, you keep folding them.
Yeah, so I think I'd go bigger. And potentially, Corey, we could add other paths.
Yeah.
So we've 4, but we could add more. And maybe we could even build on this and say to win, you have to do at least 2 of those paths.
Yeah.
So we can see by adding those things, it would be actually extra conditions because our statement would change to if the player travels there and back on 2 paths, then they win. So we're always adding conditions to improve our game. And it's really similar when we're coding. And remember, down the line in some episodes we are going to be coding. And we will be using if-then statements to improve our program all of the time.
Now it's time for you to take on this challenge at home or in school. So, can you create your own board game that has at least 3 conditional statements in it? And remember, your board game doesn't have to be the same as myself and Amanda's, and your conditional statements don't have to be the same either. We want you to be really, really creative with this board game and come up with your own conditional statements. Once you have that done and you're happy with it, test it out with some friends and family and see how it works. And if they love it and they're having fun, well then brilliant. But then one more thing you could do is you could try and improve your game by, I don't know, adding some more fun elements like some more categories or even some more conditional statements.
Thanks for watching today's episode of DreamSpace TV. We hope you can go off now and create your own board game with your conditional statements. Remember to test it out and have fun. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.